Today's episode of the Sunday Night Talk kicks off tonight. It is NFL Week 1. We wrapped it up. Sunday night just finished as we record this. Omar Carmona is back. The show is back with new categories, new talking points, and a brand new segment. You'll see what it's called. That is new to the show. And, of course, as always, we predict the week, our thoughts, our comments, our surprises. There were a bunch this week. Not to mention a recap of our own personal Sundays. This week, I barely survived. You'll see why. So, week 1 is in the books. Omar is back. We talk about it. I'm in the studio. Omar is in his home office. We get all sorts of perspectives in it. Did you watch week 1? Do you follow a team? Do you just follow the league in general? Well, this is where you need to be. Because it's the start. It's our first show of the season. We even went with our team garb. Omar's 1-0. As we listen to this Sunday night, I don't know if my team's 1-0. Las Vegas Raiders, we'll find out. So, catch the show right here, right now. It's the Sunday Night Talk with me and Omar Carmona. Here you go. It's here, finally, week 1. The season started today. Woo! Carmona joining me again for another season of the Sunday Night Talk, recording this 8:14 West Coast time. We just finished LA Rams, Chicago Bears. So much to talk about already. I feel like this season would never get here, and yet here we are, and I have to collect my thoughts. So let's start with this. As we break down all the games, how much weight does week 1 actually have?
I'd say a lot. I want to say it's a lot, because if you can only imagine your entire off season, okay, every team ended except for one on a losing note. So you have that to think about for an entire off season. Then you watch your own franchise. For some that are already with the franchise, they got to go through the draft, free agency, see who their team is picking up, who their team is losing. So I'm sure there's a lot of anxiety there. For those that don't have a contract, they're trying to land somewhere, figure out, when their next payday is going to be. They got a family to feed. So, it's a lot of buildup. Then they do off-season, the OTAs, training camp, preseason, and it all builds up to the first kickoff today. For two teams on Thursday, but it builds up to today. And so I think if you come out flat, if you lose a game, that's got to take a lot out of you.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to make the argument on another show last month that preseason is actually the best part of the season because every team is a Super Bowl team. Everybody's undefeated. And my argument was the best part about Christmas isn't Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. So now we're at week 1. Some teams won, some teams lost. Some are on the high horse, some are back to the drawing board. But let's zoom out really big just to start out, because we both have our team's gear on right now. Your team won, mine's tomorrow. Yep. So we're ready for the season. But let's just talk week 1 in general, because I'm trying to collect my thoughts, and I'm thinking, okay, week 1, right off the bat, we have the 9/11 tie-in. We have big-time American pride. This is our franchise. This is our sport. This is our entertainment. Sure. 9/11 is a source of pride, a source of unity. So we have that going for us. We have almost like a first day of school feeling with week 1. We get to see what players are in new uniforms. We get to see new coaches. We get to see everybody report to school, essentially. And then lastly, of course, we have the start of the Sunday Fun Day, which I'll get into. I had quite the Sunday Fun Day. So,
okay.
A lot of these things going on at once, and then tie in the 9/11 stuff, which I thought for the New York game had a big a big impact in the feeling as the game started. So Um, yeah, the season in general starting was like, okay, we can start the year essentially.
Yep,
How do you feel in
absolutely.
general week one starting out?
How do I mean? Look, there's so much to get to, and there's just so much we could possibly talk about. But I mean, what just left me in shock was what happened to the Packers, and more specifically, what happened to Aaron Rodgers. You know, the fact that he gets pulled, with about 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Not that they really had a realistic chance, but it kind of seemed like an awkward moment for everyone. It even seemed like an awkward moment for the Saints. I'm sure they were happy that they knocked them out, but it's kind of like, what's going on here? You know, um,
One of my big sort of before this season even started, some of my big points of interest were Aaron Rodgers in general,
right?
coming off Jeopardy, coming off a weird offseason. Packers do not retire QBs well in
No,
general.
it's always ugly, isn't it?
So yeah, that was one. And then my other one was the wife swap of Jared Goff for Matt Stafford.
Yep.
Just straight across, you get my QB, I get your QB. And then I always am curious to see the bounce back team, the team who lost the Super Bowl the year before. Let's see how they bounce back. So I had a few interests going into it. How do you watch week one, though? What did you do for week one?
Okay, so obviously, well, the first game on Thursday night, my son had baseball practice. Generally, they practice from 6 to 7. Locally, for me, the game starts at 6:30 on Thursdays, so we had to adjust practice. I got all the coaches on board, and we adjusted practice. We started an hour early, and we wrapped up about 30 minutes before kickoff, which let some of us coaches meet at a the Union Draft House, a bar in town, and so we were able to catch the game. Some of us were lucky enough to have wives that picked up the kids from the bar because it's just not that cool. But my some sons, some little baseball players were in a bar at 8, 9 years old.
And we're not
Uh,
even at week one yet. This is Thursday night.
yeah, this is Thursday night, and what was great is Ivan was so I wanted to look like a responsible parent, so I had my kid do his homework right there at the bar, because it was real important to
Oh my
me to
God.
for other patrons to see what kind of good dad I am.
Oh.
So I was able to watch that game, but today, very very low key. I did watch. The first game. Today was laundry day for me. I do the laundry for my family, so it was laundry day. So I was able to do clothes and fold while I was watching games. So it's nice to pass the time doing that. It makes folding clothes a little more bearable. And then for the second game, went to a friend's house as he had my son over, and there was a water slide. So we the me and my buddy got to watch the Packers Saints game while the kids played in the backyard. Then home to watch the Sunday game. I did watch plenty of football today.
Yeah, yeah. It seemed like you took it all in and you like you were able to like pay attention to the
Yeah,
game. It seems like
yeah,
there's a few ways to watch a football game. You can watch it, you can sit down by yourself or with a few people, and you can watch every play. You can know the
yeah.
downs, you can know the score, you can know all the stats. Or you can watch it with a bunch of people and you'll get about half of that. Or you can do the go to the bar, the sports bar thing, and essentially get about 12% of the game because you're looking at it, you're talking, there's no sound with the game that's on the TV, which is how I did it today. Really, there's a broad way of watching these games, it seems. And then in my case, I'm about three quarters in the bag for about 4.5 hours. I
Right.
never, I never got officially drunk, but I was definitely monitoring myself. Where I was like, I'm a drink and a half away from not being able to get home. Which I'm across town. I go to see my brother's in town, and he's hanging out with his college friends. And he says, "Let's go watch the games at the bars down at the beach."
Right.
So we go. So let's start off. I start with Eagles Cardinals. We've got that, and we're at an Eagles bar. So it's kind of fun. We're watching people
Well, Eagles
with
Eagles
others.
Falcons.
Eagles Falcons. Sorry,
Yeah.
Eagles Falcons. So I start with the Bloody Mary. Of course.
Ooh.
10:15 a.m. Bloody Mary. Okay, that's going good. We're going to eat as well. And then, okay, now that turns into let's get someone walks by with an exotic drink where they have a watermelon slice off the drink, and it was a Moscow Mule. Okay, so now I have that. Now we're going to have that. And this is also three dudes at a bar are drinking this.
Right.
So now we have that. And then, okay, now we bounce to the next bar because now we're looking for margaritas. Then I have a margarita. Now we're into the late game. I'm a margarita in. And then, okay, here's where Sunday Fun Day turns into a shit show. When people show up who weren't around for the first part. So they come in with a head of steam and they're
Right.
like, let's get some drinks, let's get some beers. And of course, you're like, yeah, let's do it. So this was a weird one, though. The friends are hanging out, and then the friends' mom and dad join, and the mom and dad order a round of shots for the table. So,
Well, I guess, if you're going to be a mom and dad coming into a situation like that, I think you would appreciate the round of shots. Okay? Now, but because you accepted said round of shots, do you feel like that it's necessary to start talking to them about, stuff like how's retirement? I just think
there were those conversations, like kind of
Yeah.
like there was a little bit of like they were talking about concerts and bands, and someone asked like, "Yo, I bet you've seen some great concerts over the years."
Right.
And then we're talking about concerts from 1983.
And let me just be, with all due respect, week one is not the time or the place to be having those conversations, okay?
It's fair. So we have a big shot, and I'm starting to monitor myself, and all of a sudden I have to wave off shot number 2 because I know I have to get back across town to watch Sunday night with some sort of coherence. So I have to wave off shot number 2, and they're like, oh, he's taking it easy. Better just get him a beer. So now I have another full beer in front of me, and I'm maintaining myself. Luckily, I was outside, and I'm getting fresh air, and I maintain. But here's where Sunday Fun Day messes you up. Sunday Fun Day messes you up when the one person tells you on Sunday, I don't have to work till 10 tomorrow.
Oh,
This
that's the
messes
worst.
the rest of the table up because
That's bad form. It really is bad form. That's bragging. That's bragging.
it really is. It really is because now that person has the right to go hard, and that means probably till 11 p.m. And somehow when someone says they don't have to work till 10, then that means everybody else doesn't have to work till 10 for some reason.
Right. Right.
So that was my Sunday Fun Day. I maintained that I rallied. I made it home. I put on the Bears game right on that first drive of the Rams. So I was okay. But if I go through my record, it was Bloody Mary, it was Moscow Mule, it was beer, margarita, shot, beer. I think at the end of it, and I wasn't under the table somehow.
I gotta be honest with you. I did something I've never done before during any NFL week, playoffs, regular season. I didn't drink alcohol today. How about that? I stayed completely dry. Yeah, I've never done that.
Wow, we had
And I
opposite Sundays.
And it was a conscious decision that I just said, you know what, I want to kind of take this all in. I think for a fan, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a casual fan because I do follow NFL a lot. I do fantasy, and I do like, watching at night and the storylines. But for me, I kind of wanted to see if my off-season picks were kind of like came to fruition. I was really focused on what my ideas of week one were going to be,
Yeah.
And so I
I
kind
think
of
that's
wanted
good. I like this because I've been listening. I was telling someone I was listening to nonstop sports radio all week. I think every team's going to win the Super Bowl. I can be talked into almost everything. I'm convinced. You know how
except the Jets. They're not going to win a Super Bowl.
except the Jets.
Not gonna win
I was talked into an 8-9 season from the Jets. I am like, that one girl who's perpetually dating a guy, and she's like, oh, he's the best. He's the best. He's the architect. Oh, he's a this, he's a that. She's always into the dude too
Right.
hard, too fast, and she gets her heart broken. That's me with sports radio. I get talked into everything, and I think every team is going to win. I think every coach is going to redeem himself. I think every QB is going to have that one season. It's I would like all the reporters, all the Mike and the Mad Dogs, all
Sure.
the Colin Cowherds, you got to write down your predictions now. And then because we got to call you on it come week 3, week 5, week 8.
Exactly, and I kind of that's where I wanted to go with this. So to that's why I didn't want to drink. I kind of wanted to be in the moment because whether you're just casually having a few drinks, you do kind of like maybe wander off and that after a few drinks I may want to take a nap and then in the middle of a game like the Seahawks Colts where I do want to appreciate all of it and there's so many games especially week 1 everybody's for the first 5 weeks I think this year because of the extra week I think we got a full docket for the next 5 weeks so
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot to take in but so that being said what do you think is going to happen in Green Bay?
Um, I'm nervous about a few things. I'm nervous that this is the implosion year. I'm nervous that Rodgers, if we go burn it down scenario, Rodgers gets benched halfway through the season and he just sulks on the sideline for the rest of the year. That's if it's going bad. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but the other flip side is I could totally see Rodgers flipping this and having the late season push and
Oh
getting into the
yeah,
playoffs. I could see them being shitty for the first third of the season and then totally flip it. Because every year there's a team that does really well. They go 6-0, they go 8-0, and then they totally tank the second part of the
right,
season. And then last year we had it with someone ripped off like a 6-game winning streak, and they get in the playoffs. So you have to think long haul with Rodgers, but he's an interesting one because he's gone full Cat Stevens. He's got the beard. He's got the ponytail. He's going on trips to Hawaii. He wants to host Jeopardy. And he wasn't great at hosting Jeopardy. He was great for a football player
right,
hosting Jeopardy. So now we got to start thinking, okay, where does he want to play? He wants to play on the
right.
West Coast. Is Vegas an option? Is that close enough to the West Coast? So I need to let that pot come to a boil before I kind of make my
Who
conspiracy
knows?
theories with Aaron Rodgers. So
But here's the thing:
very interesting.
if he demonstrates a bad attitude this year because of his what's looking like an ugly breakup in Green Bay, would Vegas even want an old quarterback with an attitude at that point?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that
know,
becomes the next question. Who wants to take the risk on him for the 1 year deal? I think we've
right,
seen the 1 year deal work in the past, so I could see teams wanting to do it. I could see teams saying, "Yeah, we can free up 1 year of money of space for him. He wants to come here because of geography. We want him. We want to take a shot on him." The Tom Brady model totally blew this apart because he went to Tampa Bay for 1 year, won the fucking Super Bowl. So
right.
I see I see other teams doing this. So let's talk Sunday night before we
Gotcha.
get to all the categories. So we have new categories this year. We have new awards. We have a new segment this year. So let's dive into it. Sunday night, we saw Rams dismantle the Bears in SoFi Stadium where the Super Bowl is going to be this year.
Yeah,
Stafford looks good. Fields played a little bit. He looked good for reps' sake, I guess. Bears were really behind the 8 ball all game long.
that defense doesn't even with Khalil Mack. That defense does not look good. Did you see how wide open Cooper Cup was when Stafford, threw that strike to him? He was 15 yards in front of the last DB.
The Rams
So,
were really clicking. They were dropping
oh,
everything underneath was good. Everything deep was good.
what I liked about it was just God. Let's be very honest. In Detroit, they've lost two superstars, two Hall of Famers retired early. Barry Sanders, and it was just the culture of losing. At least Barry Sanders made it to the playoffs occasionally. But it seemed like Calvin Johnson and then with Matt Stafford, there's never been a dominant defense there. There's never been this great offensive line. There's never really been a running game. It seems like every year the Lions are playing with like, well, we're gonna try the running back by committee approach. Well, that approach sucks. So it's nice to see Stafford showcase his superstar arm because I really do think he's a top notch quarterback. He has been
Yeah,
for
I
a
was
long time.
talking to people on that and were like, were you ever sold on Stafford? Because I wasn't in Detroit, but it seems half the people are sold on him. They were down with Stafford all this time.
Yeah, I think I always thought he was great. He's just on the wrong team. So it was nice to see a complete team. Gosh, did Stafford on his defense ever have a player like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey? You know, I mean that's
Hmm.
I mean
There was
those
the
are
Megatron short-lived era in Detroit too, which never fully got over the hump. Just a culture of losing. But I do like when a talented player gets a change of scenery. I always like that because Stafford's throwing the ball like he's got a rocket arm. He's
oh
finding
yeah.
everybody in stride. He looked good. They cut to Matt Stafford's wife at some point. She looks like a 10 out of 10 wearing her Rams gear. And I'm back to my idea of we need a cam on players' wives for the whole game.
So something to follow through on. It turns out that that woman that they was not his wife, and that they're
Oh,
gonna be a
right. The
problem.
first one wasn't, but the second one was, wasn't it?
Oh, they found the. I didn't see the second one.
Keep the camera on both. I don't care. Keep it on. I just want to see. That was good. I gotta say, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth went with the shirt, tie, no coat look. Very
Right.
summer friendly for a starting out wardrobe look. But you know what? Here's my question though: should this have even been the Sunday night game? Are these teams good? Were these teams good last year? I thought Cleveland KC would have been a great Sunday night game.
I
Did they do
could.
it just to have shots of LA at night?
I think that's what it was for, Patrick. I think it really was for the Super Bowl
You could
buildup.
very well be
It,
right. Yeah.
it's. I think it's just. It's a beautiful. I mean, I really think that it's the best stadium in the NFL. I'd love. I mean, I haven't been there, but I mean, just aesthetically, it looks like a fantastic stadium. And so I would say that this was more as a buildup for, in a few months we are going to be playing the biggest game, in sports in this building. So I think that's what
Yeah.
it was for.
That would make sense because I thought Cleveland KC was the game of the day. We'll get to that. Next point, Collinsworth had two quotes during the game that I really liked. There was one quote where they show a shot of whoever it is, George Hallis's great great granddaughter, who is 82 years old.
Right.
She's in the owner's box, and she's essentially there. I don't think she's watching the game. I don't think she keeps score. I don't think she knows these players' names per se. And Collinsworth goes, I wonder if she's thinking about Justin Fields. I was like, I think
Yeah.
she is not
I,
thinking
I
about that, Chris
I heard
Collinsworth.
that. I like that one.
So Chris Collinsworth is already in midseason form with his quotes. And then his second quote, he had a second one where he said, let me find it here. Collinsworth quote. What was the second one? Why am I not finding this? I love the Justin Fields one. And I can't find his second one. I wrote it down somewhere. I'll come to it. But Collinsworth already on fire with the quotes with an
Yeah.
80-year-old
But
woman.
let me ask you this. You do seem to pay and you have in previous years a lot to what Chris Col- Chris Collinsworth says. Is there ever a time you don't like Chris Collinsworth, or do you think that deep down inside you may be the biggest Collinsworth fan in the country?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan in the sense that like I want him to be the most Collinsworth he can be. I want to hear the crazy quotes. I want to hear him say wow 13 times a game. I want to
Sure.
hear the awkward him and Mike Al Michaels banter. Like Al Michaels always makes a terrible dad joke, and Chris Collinsworth won't give him the satisfaction of a full laugh, but he will be like, "That's pretty good, Al. It's not bad. Not
Yeah.
our LA
Get-
guy would
Getting a
say
soda. I'm
that."
getting a soda. But yeah.
So, yeah, I'm all in for when the announcers go all about whatever the personality is. Example being when Dennis Miller was on Monday night. I'm like, be Dennis Miller. Just be Dennis Miller. So what bothers me is the Joe Bucks or the announcers that seem to want to play it in the middle all the time. They don't want to be fun. And also, I'm saying like this is a hard job. Being
Oh
the
yeah.
play-by-play commentator is really, really hard. So I'm not saying I could do it, but yeah, I don't like where they make the silly dad jokes or where they kind of pontificate because they have to think about these players are above them because we're not their peers. They're athletically superior. So we can't look at them as peers. We have to look at them as I'm enjoying what they're producing out there and I'm going to be critical from this point on.
How about what did you think? And I don't know if you were able to pay too much attention. Um, because did you at all pay attention to Drew Brees in the in studio at NBC?
Yeah, he's in the booth now. I like that. I watched him a little bit on Saturday night doing a college game.
How about his comment about Jameis Winston when after they do the highlights of the Saints Packers, he goes, "Maybe that's what New Orleans was missing all this time."
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's great.
That's a great line.
I like Drew Brees going for the super self-aware moment right in the middle of a broadcast.
Yeah.
Maybe I was the problem.
Maybe I was the dipshit. Yeah, I think it was great. Obviously, no one will ever say that, and they shouldn't. He put New Orleans really on the football map. But that was awesome.
Second point I have with the Sunday night game, which was really interesting only because it was the first Sunday night game. Not a great game
No.
per se. Is the Justin Fields. They're putting him in sporadically. He scores the touchdown. And then this goes back to my idea of like we need a camera, just like I want the camera on the players' wives all the time. We need a camera on the backup QB all the time. We need it in the corner of the screen, always in the backup, always on the backup QB. So now I'm asking, when is Justin Fields taking over? And what's the Matt Nagy countdown clock
Okay,
now?
so I'm gonna throw this out there. Obviously, taking out Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson, who are already starting. Obviously, there are several young quarterbacks that are still on the bench. Okay, that are waiting their turn, and so obviously Fields, Trey Lance, Jordan Love, all those guys are they're backups. I believe they are the quarterbacks of the future for their respective teams. I think of all of that group of quarterbacks that's not starting, Justin Fields is going to be the first one to become the full-time starter. And I can see a week 3, week 4 change. I mean, I'm saying pretty soon. Okay.
It's going to be soon. It's got to be. Dalton save a couple of passes was largely ineffective, looked slow. He looked like Cam Newton last year.
Right, and then if that's the case, I could see Nagy being one of the first coaches if he doesn't gel well with Fields. One of them's gonna have to go, and it's not gonna be Fields. So
Yeah.
I think Nagy's days are. I think he's a fine coach. I just think his days are pretty much numbered in Chicago.
I think it's his fourth year, right? And
Yeah.
if you're taking odds on who's going to be the first coach fired in the league this year, he's got to be like 3-1. He's got to be the odds-on favorite of first coach fired after today.
Right.
That was bad. That was a bad showing for a fourth-year coach, new quarterback. So, my last thoughts on the Sunday in general: the away teams went 8-6 today. So
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, the away teams all performed. Heavy early schedule. There were 9 morning games, 4 afternoon games. And also the cool thing that I got a kick out of week 1 was when you're hanging out at the bars and stuff, the sports bars, I like how everybody wears their jersey. So we've got this sort of convention of out-of-town fans all wearing their gear.
Yeah.
So you see, yeah, it's kind of cool. Everybody kind of comes together to watch the game, and then everybody's in a good mood right now because every team is
Right.
0-0. So kind of an added bonus. Week 1, I'm like, kick it off. Let's kick it off right now. Let's go. Let's watch every game. In my case, let's drink every beer, and let's do it NFL. Let's celebrate and go for it. So, first segment in this year's Sunday Night Talk is let's just go week 1 takeaways. I got surprises, observations.
Ooh.
To start. My surprises this week: Pittsburgh. I don't think anybody uttered a word about Pittsburgh all year.
I would have gone with you on that one too. I don't know. I'm going to say the two games are a little comparable, although they were closer. When you look at the Saints Packers, I don't know if the Packers are that bad or are the Saints that good. I don't know if Pittsburgh is underrated or are the Bills overrated. One thing I will say that was concerning to me about the Bills was you guys blew everyone out at home last year in an empty stadium. Now you let in the Bills Mafia, and now we have a problem. So Are the Bills Mafia? Are they the problem?
Take him out. You're saying
Take them
you
out.
might
Let's
need to
go.
leave.
You guys,
You might.
you guys probably can't act like civilized human beings in a stadium. Take them out.
Get out. You're only hurting your team. Also, I get fearful with the Josh Allen regression year. The guy
Ugh,
has the
I
good
would
year.
hate. I would hate for that to happen for two reasons. One, he's my fantasy quarterback. Two, um, he seems like a good guy, but well, I hope there's not that regression year.
Right. He's on regression year watch. Other surprise, Green Bay, of course, getting killed. Couple observations. The self-aware Tom Brady commercials are really sticking in my memory now. He's doing the Subway one where it's shown as like a high-end watch or perfume commercial, but it's for Subway.
Right.
And he's sort of aware that this is a joke. And in the super weird cryptocurrency Tom Brady commercial,
Yeah.
I think is funny. So Tom Brady's getting out there. We're at season 2 of the Baker Mayfield progressive commercials,
Yeah.
which it seems like they were all shot last year because none of them are funny.
They're
all
not funny
kind of
anymore. They're
yeah,
not
they're all
funny.
they're all kind of just weird and just
Corny. They're just corny.
yeah. And then lastly, my disappointment of the day was just Buffalo. It just seems like all the balloon was let out of the Buffalo.
Oh, really? I mean, they were so close to the Super Bowl, and now it seems like they're just really far away. And maybe, hopefully, it was just a one of those team brain farts, and they're gonna recover next week. But who knows? Another 49ers race out to a huge opening day lead. They're up 38-10. Next thing you know, Detroit's driving to tie the game. Late fourth quarter. But here's the thing: it wasn't on Jimmy G. He didn't make any mistakes as far as giving that game back. Defense, special teams, fumbles from Debo Samuel. Hard to win games if you're not gonna close out. So Jimmy G was not the problem today. It was,
I saw more than one Jimmy G jersey walking around today.
yeah. Oh,
So
I'm sure they're.
I think people are still willing to give Jimmy G the benefit of the doubt for another season.
Like Justin Fields, Trey Lance got in, so that was kind of nice. And he had some quality snaps. So that was a takeaway too. I didn't see much of a problem with the Jimmy.
Your
G.
team did put up 41 points. That kind of
that's
sticks
huge.
out.
That's
41
huge.
points. That's sign for positivity.
Remind me,
Go ahead.
Were the Redskins? They were in the playoffs last year, right? I think they made.
I believe they were. Yeah.
I think they were in the yes, they were in the playoffs last year, and L.A. Chargers go in there and God really on a road game, and it was a grinded out game. I think we're always expecting now Justin Herbert to put up 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, and and this was a grinding a game that the Chargers actually had to grind out.
Yeah.
And they don't to me the Chargers don't win grind out games. You know what I mean? It seems like they always fall flat. And it was nice to see the Chargers get a tough road win.
Yeah, I think this this was Chargers last year. This has been my team countless years. I think this might be Dallas this year, where you have the team where you essentially play to the competition every week. If it's a good team, you play with the good team and you lose by 4. If it's a bad team, you play with the bad team and you lose by 6. That team is really frustrating. I hate that team, and that's my fear for Dallas this year. Is they went toe-to-toe with Tampa Bay, they lost, but ultimately everybody walked out of that game feeling good about Dallas, and now I'm worried that it's going to be like this week in and week out.
I will not waste an opportunity to bash Dallas. You know me, and you've known that about me for many years. I will say this. In watching the Super Bowl run for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year, even on games that they lost, and they got blown out last year by the Saints. I think that was a 38-3 game. And they got blown out by the Saints. And you just still got the impression that Brady was unfazed, that the rest of the organization was just unfazed. Like, we're still going to be in the mix. Thursday night was the first time in a real long time that I could kind of sense a feeling of fright from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, my opinion, I could be completely wrong, but I do think that Dallas punched them in the mouth, and it made them feel a little uncomfortable. And I think Dallas should run away with this division. And I said run away. It seems like every week 17, and this year it'll be week 18. It seems like it's Dallas, Philadelphia for the 9-7 record to get the
Yeah.
last wild card, division winning wild card spot. It seems like it's the last 10 years. It's come down to the
Yeah.
last game in that
Especially with
division.
17 weeks now, it's going to be a division winner is going to be that 9-7, that 10-7
Right.
for I mean forever now. It's going to be the
But
only
now
thing.
if Dallas plays like the way they did on Thursday, there's no reason why they can't be 12-5 and maybe clear that division by 2 or 3 games at the end. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
If
I think
I
it'd be a huge
play
letdown.
if I play nitpick Pat Ramirez, Dallas hardly ran the ball. Their defense saved them with turnovers. And really, there was a non-pass offensive pass interference call that could have swung the way very easily. So I think you feel good about that. I think you feel like Dak really won the night, even though they lost the game. Kind of, this was
Yeah.
a Rocky 1 situation.
Right.
They didn't win, but they went the distance.
Right. No, I'm with you. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Dallas. Another fascinating team I saw today, although I think their competition was low. The Panthers. Sam Darnold, the quarterback of the future, once upon a time in New York, wins at home against his old team that basically
I
escorted
love
him
a
out to
revenge game.
nobody.
I
Oh, it
love
was
a
a
week
great.
one revenge
Oh,
game like that. Yeah.
great revenge game. He got the first game ball in the locker room. Nice to see because I don't think anyone can ever accuse Sam Darnold of not having the talent. You know what I mean? Like the talent was always there. It's just it's the Jets. It's always gonna be the Jets,
Yeah.
and you hope that the same thing doesn't happen to Zach Wilson. But wow, to see Darnold bounce back and say, you know what, I can be a bona fide starter in this league. Good for him.
You sort of led me into my next observation. Here's what I'm watching this year is second year QBs, and I'm almost including Darnold in this, even though it's his third year. But we got Herbert, Tua, Joe Burrow, all went 3-0 today. Throw in Darnold, 4-0. So if you got, let's stick with just the second years. Herbert, Tua, Burrow. Who's your guy? Who are you going with this year if you got to take one of those QBs?
I'm taking Justin Herbert every day. I really and that's not to take anything away from Jalen Hurts, from Tua, Burrow. Um, they're good. They're going to be quality quarterbacks, and I think Burrow. I think the sky's the. I think he's got the highest ceiling of those quarterbacks. To be honest with you, but right now, and I said this last year, Justin Herbert was just ready to play day one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I don't see a drop off on him. I think he could be a next Josh Allen like progression. Just getting
Right.
better
His
and
stock
better.
might still be on the way up. Yep,
Oh,
that's true.
absolutely,
He could be
absolutely.
having the season that Josh Allen had last year.
Yeah,
And it took a trainer on the Chargers staff stabbing the
in
the
the
starting
heart.
QB in
Right,
the heart to
right.
get him in there.
And,
So
and, and,
sometimes fate works out.
and probably the most insignificant game of the day was Texans and Jaguars. Good to see Tyrod Taylor get a start. Opening day start. What he deserved last year, but still, he got a start in and he got the win. So that was my takeaway.
Last takeaway I had for week one was I just like that we went off without a hitch. No silly COVID stuff, no fans
That was great.
having to sit in plastic bubbles, no coaches wearing face masks on their face.
Yeah.
We were just playing football. I know we're gonna run into it at some point during the
Yeah.
season. It's just
Oh, yeah.
it's just a way of life at this point.
Yeah.
But we were just full steam ahead for week one, which was good. We're like, let's just open the gates. Let's go for
That's,
it.
that's that's the NFL for you. They're just when it comes to executing, they have the fans in mind and they do a good job.
Okay, new category for this year. This one's called If the Season Ended Today category. Here's what I got. If the season ended today, the Bears just start looking for a new head coach right now. Don't even waste time.
No.
Just look for one now. Just go upgrade the offensive coordinator or find someone, pluck someone from college. Just start now. Just start the hiring process now. Or this is your interview process. Everybody, my 6 candidates each get a week. And you come into the Bears and you coach the Bears for a week and we'll decide who gets the job.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I think Nagy right now is is on the hottest seat. And I could be wrong, but I just don't see a future with him, especially if and poor guy, if he's expected to take the Bears to on a deep playoff run with Andy Dalton. They had that statistic that they put Andy Dalton's numbers, his averages, and it's like, oh, and this is his whatever 12th, 13th year in the league, and basically his averages, he's a subpar quarterback, and he's been since day one. Um, so not a whole lot to look forward to, I think, in Chicago.
It's a very passive aggressive insult that the league has the most improved player award, because whoever wins that award, it says last year you sucked. This year you got a little better and you get the most improved player award. And I think some players have won it twice too.
Well, and then here's the thing about the Bears. One last point about the Bears before we move on. Remember in previous years, I mean, Rex Grossman took the Bears to a Super Bowl one year. I mean, think about
Right.
that.
There's
I
a
mean,
couple weird ones like that. You're right, where the non-QB team somehow goes to the Super Bowl.
but what was it built on? That was a Brian Urlacher, Peanut Tillman, Lance Briggs defense that
Yeah,
did that.
that was D.
Right, and then on this defense that the Bears have today, it's really just Khalil Mack, and that's really it. So they're gonna have to get better if they have any chance, or it's gonna be a long and painful season.
Yeah, they're a big question mark. That's a rough flight home for the Bears. Anything else you got for if the season ended today? What about your team? If the season ended today, what do you think on your team?
Well, let me tell you, if the season ended today, the most improved player, Jameis Winston. How about
That's
Jameis
good.
Winston?
That's good. Give
Goes
it to
from
him.
a backup, and he fires several touchdown passes. I mean, just he looked very sharp. He actually looked like the leader he was supposed to be in Tampa Bay, but just maybe it was his eyesight. We're never gonna know. But he just seemed a lot. He seemed a little more comfortable with Sean Payton. So that would be mine. If the season ended today, one thing I will say, the coach I thought about. Remember the year was it 2006 when was it Saban? He resigned in the middle of the season when there was all this hype that Coach Saban and then Bobby Petrino did that, I think, for the Falcons one year.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier was a quick exit from the NFL also.
I don't know if Urban Meyer's got the stomach for a long haul in Jacksonville.
It's going to be a long haul. We have to see if he can ride out. Number one, he's never lost at any level, so he needs to start to get used to winning and losing. New QB, the pressure. You're the head coach in college. You are the man. You are the most popular guy in school. Head coach in the NFL, the players are the most popular. So we have to see how and didn't he have like health problems at Florida?
Right.
Didn't he
right.
have to step down because his stomach hurt? He had anxiety
Right.
or something. How's this going to work out?
How about this? What is your way too early Super Bowl prediction?
Oh, I have it. Yes. Okay, next category. Let's go next category because I don't have any other if the season ended today. Okay, next category, the way too early category, and you led me right into it. Here's my Super Bowl. It's way too early to predict this Super Bowl. Cleveland versus Tampa Bay Super Bowl. Put it down right now. I think Cleveland went toe-to-toe with KC. They know what they're doing. They get everything firing on the same page. Tampa Bay is on fire. Super Bowl right now. Cleveland, Tampa Bay in SoFi Stadium. Way too early pick. I also got Stafford to the Pro Bowl. Way too early.
Ooh.
Buffalo takes a huge step back. Way too early are my three big ones.
Okay. Way too early Super Bowl prediction. AFC, I mean, the only thing about the Chiefs that what's scary about them is it seems like the Chiefs play their best when they're behind. Doesn't it always seem like they'll spot a team, 2 touchdowns, but then they're going to be in the in the thick of things at the end.
Yeah.
But then they have this revamped offensive line that's never played together before until today. That's kind of nuts to me. So we'll see if that offensive line is going to hold up, especially because that offense. I mean, that the success of Kansas City is really built on how much time Mahomes gets to pick apart defenses. But I still do think that until Cleveland and Buffalo show me something, Kansas City's going to come out of that conference. And then how can you bet against the Buccaneers? So I do say it's going to be a repeat of last year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would like that. I always like a grudge match, and in the Super Bowl, even better. Like, let's just talk Cleveland KC for a second. Cleveland should have won this game. The punter drops the ball or something. They've got the personal foul where the player hits a coach,
Sure.
which I found endearing. Was like, hey, wait, why don't I just start hitting these guys who don't wear helmets? Why am I taking swings at guys with helmets?
Right.
And then with the punters, when did punters get personalities? It seems like punters now have long hair and funny stories to talk about. That one former Colts punter has a radio show. Like, when did punters become personalities in the NFL?
Oh, yeah,
Those
I'm with you.
those were the
I'm
guys
with you
you
on
stuffed
that.
in the luggage compartment of the bus.
I'm with you on that. But yeah, but although those are my Super Bowl picks, um, did you say you give a coach of the year or MVP
I
pick?
have let's see, I have coach of the year. I have coach of the year in my oh no, I have it in the way too early. I have it in
Way
my
too
way
early.
too early pick. Yeah, my coach of the year. Well, I went a little off the path because there's some easy picks you could say, but I just went Sean Payton. No Drew Brees, two quarterback system. Say he runs the table, and let's not forget, no home games for the first couple weeks for New Orleans because they have a hurricane every 3 years, and they
Right.
have to play in other stadiums. So I say we got a non-Drew Brees, a little bit of a sympathy pick because of hurricane. So I say Sean Payton gets my way too early coach of the year.
I wanna throw this out there. Coach of the year is one of four coaches in my opinion. And it's gonna be to whichever coach comes out of the NFC West as champions, okay? That division looks stacked. And you got three young guys in Kingsbury, McVay, Shanahan, and then you got the old senior status guy in Pete Carroll. Um, but that coming out of that division is going to be difficult. I don't think there's a clear favorite right now. All teams looked impressive. Obviously, the Niners kind of gave up, a lot at the end, but Seahawks look good today. Uh, Cardinals look good today. Rams look good today. So I think Coach of the Year's got to be whoever comes out of that one alive.
Okay, next category. I'm going to spring this on you. I don't know if you saw this yet. Okay, this category is called Make Me Angry. I'm going to make an argument that's going to make you angry.
Hmm.
Okay, here's what I got. San Francisco will lose to Arizona at some point during the season and lose home field advantage. It's going to happen. San Francisco gives up a lot of points. Arizona's going to catch fire. Arizona might be out of the playoffs at the time. San Francisco will be vying for home field, and Arizona will beat them, and they'll lose home field advantage.
But
That's my
but
make you angry argument for the
oh,
week.
and I am that. But the reason I'm angry is because I think that's a very big. It's a very big reality. Only I don't think. God, Kyler Murray played like Madden, like he was being controlled in a Madden game today. The guy was just making a ton of difficult throws. His receivers were making difficult catches, but they all look real good. And I think the Cardinals are an extremely scary team this year.
Yeah, the only other thing, Kyler Murray, this comes from Russell Wilson. I call it the Russell Wilson syndrome. Great for about 8 weeks, and then they fall apart. I remember last year we crowned Russell Wilson the MVP
Way too early.
way too early. And then think about it, I was like, wait, I did this last year too. Wait, I did this the year before too. So now I call this the Russell Wilson syndrome, which Kyler Murray was the same last year. He played great for half the season, and then the wheels came off the wagon. So make me angry segment. Your team gets beat by Kyler Murray, and they lose home field advantage.
And then for my make me angry.
Are you gonna make yourself angry or make me angry?
No. I think I just making people angry. The Cincinnati Bengals are gonna play spoiler this year. They're just gonna play. They're gonna beat teams that they shouldn't beat, but Joe Burrow's gonna throw the ball around, and I could see them. Minnesota goes in there thinking today they're gonna I think wipe the floor with the Bengals, and it took a long overtime game, but Bengals came out on top. So I think that it's gonna make a lot of NFL fans angry for a lot of teams. But I think the Bengals are gonna play spoiler this year.
Spoiler alert: the Bengals play spoiler this year.
Yep.
I like this new "make me angry" argument. I think it's a
Oh,
great way.
and I'm sure next week we can do it. There's going to be another slew of things we can think about that make us
Yeah,
angry.
yeah. Let's see how close we can get to wanting to kill each other by week 3. Okay, I got this category's been my favorite when I was thinking of new ideas this year. Okay, you know the popular game, Marry, Fuck, Kill.
Uh huh.
Let's give it an NFL spin, and this is called franchise, sign to a 1-year deal, or send to the practice squad. Is this category? So here's what I got: franchise, Kyler Murray, sign to a 1-year deal, Jameis Winston, send to the practice squad, Matt Ryan.
Okay. Oh, those are some very good picks. I too am with you on the send of the practice squad. Matt Ryan today looked like a deer in headlights. He was awful.
What
And
happened to
all
Matt Ryan?
and
Has anybody
all
fallen off the mountain worse than Matt Ryan? Carson Wentz
all
maybe is in there, but that was bad.
all off season we were talking about all the weapons, even though with Julio Jones gone, it's like don't worry about it. Calvin Ridley, we drafted Pitts. There's some other good receivers out there in Atlanta, and it's just they just. I mean, I don't expect much from the Eagles, but the Eagles look like a Super Bowl team next to the Falcons today.
Yeah, they
Uh,
look good. The Eagles look good today with against the Falcons.
and that's why I say that's why the week 1 is so important because now the Eagles get to carry on this like confidence that they went to Atlanta with Atlanta getting all this preseason hype and they just kicked their asses. So I'm with you on sending Matt Ryan to a
Send him to
uh,
the practice squad.
under the pressure.
Kill
I'm okay with giving Jordan Love a 1-year deal, okay? Because like all green, like you said, like with Green Bay backups,
1-year deal. You want to fuck Jordan Love? Gotcha. That's
that's
a 1-year deal.
a 1-year deal. Just 1 1 year deal because the sad thing is about being like Aaron Rodgers was Favre's backup and Love being Rodgers' backup. The backups in Green Bay just don't get a whole lot of playing time. Okay, I mean there's not a huge body of work there that you can. So but he seems like a talented kid. So give him a 1-year deal. Franchise, God, there's so many quality people that can you hand over your team. Kyler Murray's up there. I think Stafford's young enough to have some good quality seasons in with the Rams. But for me, the guy you want to franchise Justin Herbert.
Oh, you want to marry Justin Herbert? You want to
Yeah,
franchise him?
absolutely. Yeah, he's my guy. He was my guy last year. He's gonna keep being my guy this year.
Gotcha. I also got for our franchise 1-year deal, send to the practice squad, marry, fuck, kill. I don't know if how close you watched the NBC broadcast. A couple of interesting shows on the docket for NBC this year. A couple new ones. One that's somehow is in their 4th year. So, marry, fuck, kill, franchise 1-year deal, send to the practice squad. These three NBC shows. You got show number 1, New Amsterdam.
Okay.
Show number 2, La Brea. And show number 3, where is it? I have it here. I lost it. Where's my 3rd NBC show? I said La Brea, New Amsterdam, and Ordinary Joe.
Okay. I'm gonna keep this conversation, this segment quick. I don't watch network shows. I really don't.
I don't think
will say
anybody
this.
does anymore.
I will say this: La Brea kind of seems the more interesting one, but I just haven't watched a network show in a. I think the last time I'll watch like these TV comedies / sitcoms. I, I used to watch Seinfeld and Frasier, but
That's right. You were early money on Frasier. I will give you that.
oh yeah, I knew a good show when I first saw it. That I loved that show back in like what 94 when that came out. I love that
Frasier
show.
would like notoriously clean house when it came to the Emmys as well. Like there were heavy hitter shows going on at the time. ER, Seinfeld, and Frasier would win all the awards.
Absolutely.
Friends, yeah, and Frasier would walk away with all the Emmys.
Yeah, and so I was always big on it, but then when ABC came out with Modern Family, so I paid close attention to Modern Family. I will honestly say that's pretty much it as far as shows on the big four networks. That's it. I've never gotten into any other show. I am fascinated. Little rewind for us. On September 22nd, the Wonder Years reboot is
I
coming
saw a
out.
commercial for that too. Yeah,
I may
interesting.
watch that one.
Like networks, there's no end to just rebooting old shows too. So if we're just gonna give up on making new shows, let's just go all in. We'll go Wonder Years. We'll go Cheers. We're due for just remake Cheers. Friends is probably not that far off. We can make a Friends reboot. And fuck it, let's go for a sports night. I love sports night. Do
That'd
that
be
one.
awesome. That'd be
I'd go
awesome.
for that. I'm gonna give Ordinary Joe my sign to a 1 year deal. I'm giving you
Okay.
one episode, Ordinary Joe.
All right.
I'm gonna franchise La Brea. I have high hopes for La Brea. I love a disaster. I think this could turn into like a Lost sort of
Sure.
show where
Sure.
they easily could be in alternate universes. And then send to the practice squad New Amsterdam. It's in their 4th year. I'm tired of it. Hospital shows in general, I think we've done to death.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
That was franchise, signed to a 1 year deal, send to the practice squad category. Brought to you by absolutely no one. A new category for the year. Okay, last category. Sunday MVP. Who won week one?
Whew. The Saints. I mean, it's got to be the Saints. I mean, the drop off when you lose. I mean, obviously there was a significant talent drop off. Drew Brees last year did not was not close to the same Drew Brees he'd been in previous years. But another thing was just his leadership, not only in the locker room but the city of New Orleans. So regardless, and that's not to I don't want to disparage Jameis Winston, but you don't think you're going to get the same type of you're not getting the same quarterback that you had in Drew Brees, but that can be said for any quarterback that starts for New Orleans today. You know what I mean? But the fact that the Saints would go in and they take out a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year so easily, so one-sided, and basically may have caused so much turmoil in Green Bay. They and they did this really on a road game in Jacksonville, because of the hurricane. I think that they are the biggest winners today.
Saints is good. I got a couple nominees. I got Matt Stafford.
Okay.
I got the NFL.
Yep.
I have grass stadiums.
Okay.
And then lastly, Los Angeles. We got fans back. Los Angeles notoriously shut down the longest. And then
Yep.
we had these awesome drone footage shots of the stadium, the beach.
I like it. I like it.
But none of those got my who won the week one. I'll tell you who won week one for me. My drinking. I somehow avoided getting hammered today. I still haven't figured out how I've done it. I sporadically drank water. Maybe that was it. I ate a breakfast burrito, but by and large, that was it. I had by my count, I had about 6 to 8 drinks.
Bro.
And somehow I wasn't falling down. And somehow I made it in time to watch Bears Rams. So MVP for the week is my drinking.
Oh, good one. Good for. So I guess it'd be your liver holding up.
Oh, yeah, my liver. Yeah, let's go with Pat's experienced liver for who won the week. Okay, new category. This one is a departure. This one's called legal ramifications. You are a lawyer. I am a layperson. Every week, I'm going to give you a new legal question that I
Okay.
need your expertise on. Okay, this week, I'm going super basic, super broad. I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to play off of your answer. Okay, can you break down the differences between criminal law, family law, corporate law, or like entertainment law, and how did you choose the category of law that you practice?
Okay. Well, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, and I do juvenile for adults and juveniles. Okay. I do federal and state work. I do parole cases, so with a criminal element to it, and I really enjoy it. I like being in court more than being stuck in an office. And right now, because of COVID, though, I've had to get used to practicing law from an office. Obviously, I'm there defending. I'd be stupid to think that all my clients are innocent. But all you want is that you make sure that your client is being treated fairly. If you're gonna send my client to prison for a really long time, just make sure you do it right. Okay. Um, but family lawyers, I think are I think that's probably the most difficult law to practice. Not because the laws are so complicated or anything like that. I think it's the most difficult because you're dealing with kids. A cheating spouse and also wants to see the kids, and the other spouse says, "No, you're a terrible parent." Well, just because he or she cheated doesn't necessarily make that guy, that person a bad parent. I think that's got to be the hardest law to practice, and I definitely do not like family law. Court, I mean, but there are lawyers that do prefer being in an office, looking at transactional stuff. So when you're talking civil practice, you're typically talking about money, and some people do. There are civil litigators that go to the courtroom and they do practice, but there's also civil office lawyers that they just rather look at documents, prepare forms, all that stuff like that. Those are some differences. Civil, primarily dealing with money. Criminal, you're dealing with liberty. But there's also in the civil aspect, there's so many other branches. You talked entertainment law. You talked about corporate transactional lawyers, personal injury, immigration. There's so much there. But the most important thing is you just gotta like what you've. I know so many lawyers that are miserable doing their jobs, and I just look at them and I feel bad. I say, what's the whole point?
How did you choose the area of law that you ultimately went with? Were you
I,
between a few? And
yeah,
then
no. When I was in law school, I only wanted to do real estate law. Okay,
what's that?
just looking at real estate transactions, and maybe I wanted to maybe get some after I had a little bit of money. I wanted to maybe purchase some properties, and maybe also act like a flip homes, and maybe act as also as a realtor in Texas, I believe, or at least it was back when I passed the bar. You could be basically like a realtor, just because you're a lawyer. Okay. And you can enter in those transactions just by having a law license. But once I passed the bar exam, you know I, I needed a quick paycheck, so I took criminal court appointments. Okay. And so that's what got me started in criminal law. Ask me in 14 years how many real estate cases I've taken on in my 14-year practice. Zero.
Ah,
I found my calling with the criminal stuff, and blessing in disguise. I did not make it in the real estate world.
well, educate me for my understanding. Okay, day one, you pass the bar, you're a lawyer. Day one, you said you want to earn a paycheck. What do you do? Where do you go earn a paycheck?
I went to the courthouse and I got my name on a list to get criminal court appointments. Because the truth of the matter is, everyone says, "Oh, my gosh, you're a court-appointed lawyer. That means you probably suck." Well, that's not what that means. I mean, there are lawyers out there that you could pay thousands of dollars that are, these private, nice suit lawyers, and they're terrible lawyers. Terrible. And there's lawyers out there that take court-appointed cases and they treat them just like they would a paying client. So I've always been private practice. I've never been in the government sector. I've never been a public defender, but I do get court appointments even to this day.
Who pays you for a
The
court?
county pays me for
I
my
see.
time. Yeah.
I see.
And I treat my clients exactly the same, whether you paid me a lot of money or the government's going to pay me for my time. I treat them exactly the same. So that's what I did. I got on a list and I started taking court appointments, and that's how you learn.
Is
Trying
that
some case.
normal? Do other lawyers do that? Is that normal practice? Does
I
anybody
think
get a
it. I
job
think
right
it's
out of?
normal. I think it's normal when you're starting off on your own. I think in you're a firm, you know, the
Yeah. What
mistake.
about like in the movie The Firm, where
Well, I think the
everybody
mistake
wanted to hire
people
Tom Cruise?
the mistake people make, young lawyers make, is when they come out, it's like, there is a sense of ego and cockiness, and let me tell you something. That first day that I was the law office of Omar Carmona, no one was calling me. So there was no excuse for me not to answer the phone because all I was doing was waiting for a phone call. Nobody was calling. So you got to take those court appointments. The advantage of going to a firm, especially an established firm, is that they already have an established clientele. So as soon as you walk in there, there's plenty of work for you to do. Now, but on the flip side, I always wanted to be my own boss. And I've been one of the lucky ones that have never had to call anyone boss. I have had a mentor who I've treated like a boss, and but even at that, my mentor always gave me the freedom to basically practice what I wanted to practice. But I've never had a boss, so I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I was curious how a lawyer gets started because I hear there's a million categories of law, but how do you actually become a lawyer? I get the education, I get the passing the bar, and then what do you do day
the
one? Same
the
with
trick is
like
to find
doctors.
something you're gonna like, but then it's just go in there and get experience. Just don't get cocky. As for at least for me, was going in there and trying a lot of cases and getting my ass kicked a lot of times. And that's the only way you're gonna learn. Another thing, I tell all the young lawyers that ever ask me, well, what should I do? I said, find a mentor. And like I was fortunate enough to find somebody that's going to teach you how to do it right. And you'll learn so much. And it can't be about money. If you're doing this for money, you're in the wrong business. Um, and that goes not just for the legal profession. That goes, I think, for every profession. If you're just going to want to get paid and not really learn how to be a quality professional, it's not going to go well for you. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Just go in there and get your ass kicked a few times.
What does getting your ass kicked look like for being a lawyer? What's an example of you getting your ass kicked as a lawyer?
When you go and try a case and you're telling a jury, please find my client not guilty, but in the meantime, the jury heard your client confess 5 different times. There's video of your client doing the, basically committing the offense. There's several witnesses that said that they also saw the exact same thing. And then with a straight face, you tell the jury, you ask me, please find him not guilty. And they come back in a 2 minute verdict and say, yeah, that sucker's guilty. That's
Oh,
getting that's getting your ass. None of the you're making the right objections, but the law's not on your side. Even though the judge even though I have to say I disagree with the court ruling, but that the judge was fine in the ruling, but you're just getting your ass kicked left. That's getting your ass kicked
mm.
left and right.
You sound like the Chicago Bears of tonight.
Oh,
You
oh
seem
yeah,
like
oh
their
yeah.
client was doomed from the start, and yet they kept taking the field and trying to convert
You
first
might as
downs.
well, in those early years, you might as well have dyed my hair red and given me a number 14 Bears jersey.
Legal counselor Andy Dalton.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your Mount Rushmore of law movies?
Ooh, that's okay for me. It's on my Mount Rushmore, but I don't think it would be on A Time to Kill. Jake Brigance, such a great legal movie. Not only a great book, but it was a fine movie as well. To Kill a Mockingbird. That,
Hmm.
that's that's got to be up there. Mount Rushmore, The Paper Chase. That's not so much for lawyers, but it's more for law students. It kind of gives you an idea of what the way law school is. I mean, it's nothing that was going to win an Academy Award, but it is the Mount Rushmore for me. Um, and then The Firm. How can I want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Oh
That's
yeah,
such a
or A Few
such
Good Men.
a few good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
same
A few
actor.
good
Yeah.
men. A few good. Yeah, I was thinking of the same actor. Um, but definitely A Few Good Men. That is I feel bad that I even confused it, but you're right. Tom Cruise, I think, was way better in A Few Good Men than he was The Firm. And I just think the storyline was so much. Jack Nicholson just really hit a home run with that role.
I think we
But
were still learning what Tom Cruise was in The Firm. I think we were still figuring out this is what kind of leading man is this guy. And then by A Few Good Men, I think he was fully formed Tom Cruise. He was fully formed Tom Brady. He was fully formed Aaron Rodgers going into the playoffs. Whereas in The Firm, he was a little bit more. What would you say? He was more. Call him. Let me think of a
Tom
good QB
Tom
example.
Tom Cruise one of those interesting actors that there were two career, you know, trajectories, I guess, so to speak. There was the drama Tom Cruise, like the true acting Tom Cruise, which he's not a bad actor. I'm not gonna badmouth him. But then there was like the action adventure Tom Cruise, and it just seemed to me that after like kind of like some duds on the drama, like Vanilla Sky, what was the one by Kubrick?
Eyes Wide Shut
Eyes Wide
was just a
Shut.
weird movie.
It was such a weird, and then the Vanilla Sky one was kind of shitty. I think he just realized, hey, look, they're gonna pay me a ton of money to jump out of a moving, a speeding car like in Mission Impossible, and I get to jump out of an airplane that's about to crash over the Andes Mountains. I think I'd much rather do that. I think
It's
that
it's an interesting career trajectory because we haven't seen Tom Cruise do anything besides action in the last 10 years. Am I wrong? Has he been in a
no, you're
drama?
right, and he's gotten older, but he's still doing all this crap. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, because I recently watched, you got Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, Magnolia, which I don't like as a movie, but he's excellent in it. But he was doing some serious acting work. I like Rain Man because his character essentially has no redeeming qualities. He's just a dick, and he's just trying. And then he sort of just learns that his brother has this talent for counting cards, and he just takes advantage of it.
Yeah,
And he sort of like has a short relationship with his brother, but essentially Tom Cruise is a dick for 90% of that movie, and he's
right.
hilarious. I love it. I love it. Tries to put sunscreen on his autistic brother.
I like it.
Let's predict Monday night. That was legal ramifications, but Monday night we got Baltimore coming into the Las Vegas Raiders. Fans are in the stadium for the first time. Raiders, of course, my team. I have the shirt on. High hopes, like every other season, but this is a winnable game. The Raiders can start out hot.
Yes.
So my Monday night prediction is Raiders pull it off 24-20, and we have Raiders fever for 3 weeks into this season.
Okay, I'm gonna go with you and also go with the Raiders. And I want to say that because I hate to say it for the Ravens, but the way that injury bug got them these last 3 weeks, Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Marcus Peters, you just have a feeling that it's just gonna be one of those years where nothing's gonna go well for them. To include opening night, I'm going Raiders. I'm gonna go Raiders 27, Ravens 13.
All right, that was our Monday night predictions. We covered a lot of ground. It's week 1 for the NFL, but it's also week 1 for us. So we got all our categories in. I'm open to adding some in the future as the week goes on, as the season goes on. So lots of excitement.
It
We
is.
predict the Super Bowl in our way too early category. We knocked out some law questions. We have Matt Nagy on the coach fired watch list.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And we decided which QBs to sign to a 1-year deal and marry and franchise.
I like it.
For week 1, this has been the Sunday Night Talk with Omar Carmona. We will see you next week, man.
Have a good one.
Okay, that is the show. That is week 1 in the NFL. That is Omar Carmona. That is me, Patrick Ramirez. How about that? New categories. If the season ended today, legal ramifications, and of course, franchise. Sign 1-year deal. Or send to the practice squad. Hey, lots of stuff there. Of course, my own Sunday experience. How did I survive Sunday? How was I not crawling on the floor at some point? I don't know. But I made it. I made it to the show and beyond. Don't forget, all these shows are up on YouTube, but so is my other stuff. So is my stand-up. So is Running It Back. So is the true crime episodes, which more of those are coming soon. So you can check out some past shows as well on the channel. As always, I thank you for listening, and stay tuned for next week in the NFL, the Sunday Night Talk, and more shows as well. For Omar Carmona and Patrick Ramirez, that was the Sunday Night Talk. See you next week.